Welcome back, everyone, to the third and final day of this year's Bhadracarya Festival online.
欢迎大家回到今年线上闲行节的第3天，也是
We
最后
actually
一
first
天。
started the festival with, to coincide with the birthday of my late grandfather, His Holiness Jigdal Dagchen Chang.
一开始这个节日的设立是为了纪念仁波切的祖父金刚持达钦法王的
This year,
生日。
that's today, and as a tribute to His Holiness, in collaboration with the Bhadracarya Foundation, the Maharishi Fellowship has been providing immense help to those in need in many places, and we have a video report to share with everyone about that before the prayer session.
今天就是达钦法王生日纪念日，为了向他致敬，闲行基金会和魔力之天联盟合作，在很多地方给有需要的人伸出援手。我们做了一个
Before
汇
all
报
of that,
短视频，
let's
在法会
return
之
to
前给
our
大家放
study
送。
of Maitri Yogi's mind training teaching.
在那之前，我们先继续学习慈氏瑜伽士的修行教法。
If you don't already have the text, it's easy to download from our website, as you can follow along.
如果你还没有这个教文，可以从仁波切的网站上下载。 So yesterday, we looked at the words of the Vajra song that Maitri Yogi chanted to train his mind every day many centuries ago. 那昨天我们看了1000年以前的慈氏瑜伽士用来修心而吟诵的金刚歌，
which use the afflictive emotions that are the actual cause of suffering as a means to develop bodhicitta and thereby overcome those causes of suffering for our own and others' liberation.
他利用烦恼，也就是苦因，作为修行菩提心的工具，从而断除苦因，让自他获得解脱。
Now, the root Sanskrit word bodh has 3 main meanings.
菩提的梵文词根 bodh 有3层含义。
One is to wake up. One is to have cleansed away defilements. And one is to develop what needs to be developed.
1是觉醒，2是已经净除了染污，3是培养需要培养的东西。
So when we talk about bodhi that the Buddha attained, of course, that doesn't, it doesn't mean waking up like, just waking up from a nap or something.
当我们讲佛陀证得的菩提，这种觉醒当然不是像睡个午觉醒来那样。
It means waking up from the sleep of avidya, misknowing.
他的意思是从无明的沉睡中醒来，
Of misknowing reality.
对实相的无明。
So bodhi means awakening to the truth of the way things are. The relative and ultimate truth.
菩提意味着觉悟，了悟事物的真相、真谛，包括世俗谛和圣义谛。
Awakening our primordial wisdom, and therefore being free, being free from all the dreamlike karma and suffering.
唤醒本初智慧，从而摆脱如梦如幻一般的业和苦。
Again, in the context of what the Buddha meant by bodhi, the cleansing of defilements means the complete purification of all obscurations of omniscient realization.
佛陀说的菩提第二层意思，清除染污，意思是完全净除证悟全知智慧的障碍。
Just as the stains on a cloth are not part of the cloth, but it's something that can be, washed away. It can be something washed away to return to the cloth to its original, clean, unstained state.
就好像一块布上面的污渍不属于布的一部分，是可以洗掉的，让布回到原本干净没有染污的状态。
So the mind's true nature is pure clarity and knowing. So no matter what the defilement, it can be removed, through our practice, just as the Buddha demonstrated.
心的真实自性是纯净的明和知，无论有什么样的染污，都可以通过修行净除，就像佛陀亲身示范的那样。
So in terms of the defilements of mind, they are afflictive obscurations of the negative emotions that disturb us, that ruin us, that ruin our peace, that ruin our happiness, and so on.
心的染污包括烦恼障，就是干扰我们的负面情绪，能摧毁我们的平静和快乐等等。
And then there are the cognitive obscurations, which means the blocks to full and final understanding of reality.
还有所知障，意思是障碍对实相的圆满究竟的理解。
So the bodhi that the Buddha described as a learning is a complete cleansing of the two obscurations.
佛陀说的菩提，也就是通过学修把二障完全净除。
Then developing what we need to develop in terms of bodhi means that the culmination of the path is the completion of every possible aspect of merit and wisdom.
菩提的第三层含义，培养需要培养的，意思是走到了道路的终点，圆满了福德和智慧的每一个方面。
So that means, compassion, knowledge, the abilities, and every other quality is perfectly complete to be in optimum capacity to help other sentient beings of, the six realms.
这意味着慈悲、智慧、能力等等所有功德都完全圆满了，获得了最大限度的能力，以利益六道众生。
So that's what we mean by bodhi. Whether we hear the Sanskrit word or the Tibetan word or any other language, words used to translate this word bodhi, we must remember the deep meaning it has in the Buddha Dharma.
这就是菩提的含义。所以无论我们听到梵文、藏文的菩提这个词，还是其他语言翻译的，都必须记得它在佛法里的深刻含义。
Then, what happens when we join the word bodhi to citta?
那么把 bodhi 菩提这个词和 citta 心这个词放在一起。
Chitta doesn't just mean our surface level of thinking mind. No, it means something. It means something broader than that.
这打心指的是不仅是表面的能思考的
The
心，
mind, as it is affected, the mind as it is affected or informed by our thinking and our relation to the sensory world, the intuitive mind.
它的含义比这要广。这个心指的是被我们的思维、我们跟感官世界的关系所影响，所给予信息，是直觉的心。
So when we aim for something, when we really, when we are really intent on something that it doesn't only last while we're actively thinking of our goal. It's felt much deeper, and therefore it energizes us. It energizes us in everything we do.
当我们有一个目标，想要去做某件事的时候，它的影响不只存在于你正在思考这目标的时候，它感觉是更深层次的，所以它给我们做每件事情提供动力。
So citta here doesn't just mean a thought-out intention. It means a total commitment deep in the heart.
所以这打心不仅仅意味着一个意愿或想法，它意味着内心深处
Now,
完
how
全
does
的
that
托付。
commitment, that total commitment of our heart of our heart to Bodhi come about?
这种心完全托付给菩提，这种托付是怎么来的？
That is love and compassion.
是从慈悲心而来。
So for that reason, as it says in our text, Maitreya Yogi recited the words as a meditation to train his own mind in love and compassion, and
所以在这篇教文里，此事瑜伽士吟诵的这些文字，是作为修行菩提心、修
and
行慈
therefore
悲心的法门。
Maitreya appeared to him in a pure vision and said the following lines.
于是，在他的静观中，弥勒出现在他面前，说了如下偈颂
Says, just by hearing it, the song dispels the suffering of the bad destinations. Just by contemplating it, the song cuts down the tree of samsara. Just by cultivating it, the song swiftly draws forth bodhi. This song of loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta is fantastic.
闻即能除恶趣苦之歌，思即能断轮回数之歌，修即速证菩提果之歌，慈悲菩提心此稀有歌。
In the Dharma Samgati Sutra, it says that if a bodhisattva understands and holds to one thing, then they have all the qualities of a Buddha in the palm of their hands. And that one thing is great compassion.
法集经中说，若菩萨了知和受持一样东西，就如同在手掌中握有佛陀的所有功德，这样东西就是大悲心。
And likewise here, Maitreya, Maitreya marvels that this meditation is a means to overcome suffering at the very root, and to accomplish Bodhi.
同样的，在这里，弥勒菩萨赞叹这个修法是根除痛苦、成就菩提的方法。
So what is that compassion? This compassion that is so great that it can actually take us to Buddhahood.
所以这悲心是什么？是如此伟大的悲心，能让我们证得佛果的大悲心是什
In
么呢？
the Abhisamaya Lankara, Maitreya explains that the moisture of compassion is loving kindness. And the spring that comes from is suffering.
弥勒在《金庄严论》中说， 滋润悲心的水分是慈心，而源泉是苦。
This is because we can't even talk about transcending suffering if we don't first understand suffering.
这是因为如果我们不先理解苦，就没法讨论超越苦。
So true loving kindness is wanting others to be happy. But
真正的慈心是希望他人快乐。
But temporal happiness is by nature subject to change. Which the Buddha called the suffering of change. As a temporary happiness, changes into dissatisfaction. When it passes.
但是世俗的快乐从本质上说是一定会变化的，佛陀称之为坏苦。短暂的快乐过去了，就转变成不满足，变成苦。
True compassion is wanting others not to suffer.
真正的悲心是希望他人不受苦。
Which refers to what the Buddha called the suffering of suffering, such as the pain of the the lower realms and the temporary difficulties we undergo in this life and so forth.
这苦指的是佛陀称之为苦的苦，例如恶趣之苦，还有我们此生经历的短暂的困苦等等。
Moreover, the Buddha talked about a third type of suffering, the samskara dukkhata.
佛陀还说了第三种苦，行苦。
Which means the suffering of being subject to conditioning, like the 5 aggregates and so on, and that pervades everything.
这指的是只要观待因缘，例如五蕴等因缘，那就是苦。这普遍存在于所有事物当中。
So since it's like happiness lands on the 5 aggregates, and we can't find true happiness in them.
就好像如果快乐是要依赖于五蕴，那在其中就找不到真正的快乐。
So therefore, the 3 kinds of suffering are the alambana pratyaya, the objective condition for compassion to arise.
所以这3种苦就是悲心升起的所缘缘。
We analyze the reality of what the 3 sufferings mean, and then, recognizing that this falls short of, affording the lasting happiness and freedom from suffering that we wish sentient beings to have. We develop great love, we develop great compassion.
我们分析3种苦的实际含义，就会认识到轮回不可能让我们永恒持续的快乐和远离痛苦。我们希望众生离苦得乐，于是我们就生出大慈心和大悲心。
The causal condition, the hetu pratyaya, is the natural empathy of our Buddha nature, like a seed, as well as predispositions from previous lives.
悲心升起的因缘是我们自身佛性自然拥有的慈悲，就好像种子，好像前世带来的特质。
The dominant condition, the adipati pratyaya, is a proper Dharma teacher.
悲心升起的增上缘是具格的佛法导师。
This is because the suffering of suffering, in terms of this life, is evident. It's evident, but the causal relationship between karma and the 6 realms, where suffering occurs, must be learned.
这是因为就苦而言呢，此生的苦是很明显、容易看到的，但是业和六道之间的因果关系，还有苦的升起，必须通过学习来了知。
So the suffering and change and the suffering of the samskaras, they require even a more detailed explanation.
坏苦和行苦就更需要详细解释了。
So for that reason, and also to learn the most effective methods and so on, a teacher is very important.
因为这个原因，也为了学到最有效的方法等等，导师非常重要。
Then the immediately preceding condition, the samanantara pratyaya, is the mind itself.
让悲心升起的等无间缘是心本身。
Now, some posit a self or soul that experiences suffering.
有些人安立一个自我或灵魂作为感受苦的主体。
And in that case, the mind fixated on that permanent self conditions, the compassion.
这样的话，这种悲心就要关带一个只取常我的心。
As with a view that posits the self on the basis of the five aggregates as inherently existent, which also conditions the compassion.
这种见地在五蕴的基础上安立一个真实存在的自我，他的悲心还关带于这种见地。
A bodhisattva views the five aggregates and all phenomena to be like a dream, like an illusion with no inherent existence that can be grasped.
而菩萨看五蕴和一切万法都如梦如幻，没有真实自性，无法被直取。
So it is this non-grasping mind that is the immediately preceding condition combined with the other three conditions of for great compassion.
那前一个刹那的这种无执之心是等无间缘，再加上前面说过的三种缘，是大悲心的四缘。
Therefore, the great compassion of bodhicitta has these four conditions and is informed by suffering.
所以菩提心的大悲心有这四种缘，在苦的影响下升起。
So this is like the science or the psychology of great compassion.
这就是大悲心升起的科学机制，或者说心理学机制。
As we already explored in the text, all sentient beings suffer.
我们在教文中已经了解，一切众生都在受苦。
So when we understand the three kinds of suffering, we don't just wish to be liberated ourselves, but we wish to liberate others, all sentient beings from all dissatisfaction. And that is the essential key point.
我们了解了三种苦，就不希望仅仅是自己解脱，而是希望一切众生都从一切苦中解脱。
So in that way, our hearing, our studying, contemplation, meditation, of the key points for mind training will enable us to arouse bodhicitta.
这是最为本质的要点。我们为了修心而对这些要点进行文思修，就会升起菩提心。
It says just over here,
just by hearing and just by contemplating and so on.
偈颂中说闻即能除，思即能断等等，这个寂字。
Because if we know the key points, then even though Maitreya Yogi's root verses are only quite short, it opens the door to understanding all the vast teachings on the path to Buddhahood.
是因为只要我们明白要点，虽然此时瑜伽士的根本颂非常短，但它在通往佛国的法道上打开了一扇大门，开启了对深奥广阔的教法的理解。
Although the 5 poisonous afflictions are classified for destruction like enemies, it's amazing that you still resort to them in your continuum in this way. Although sickness and suffering are hard to bear in every way, it's wondrous that you do so like this.
所以弥勒继续说：烦恼五毒如敌，虽当摧，汝相续人医之真稀奇。疾病苦痛诸等虽难忍，汝人如是而行真稀奇。
To let go of self-interest, for it to fade away in favor of taking responsibility for the welfare of others, for whom would it not be hard to thus roam through samsara without self-interest, thereby, without being ensnared by the selfish thought for as much as a second, to take what others don't want upon oneself is holiness.
见气自利，精勤行他利，不自利行轮回，谁不坚？故而片刻亦不贪自利，取受他所不欲，是圣人。
The excellent discourses of the Mahayana are infinite, however, not even as much as a fraction is missing in this. Therefore, Yogi, this Vajra song that you have undertaken, whether heard, recollected, meditated, or explained, is a sacred source of refuge for the world and its gods.
大乘圣教无边亦无际，然无一分不含于此中。故而瑜伽士如所受持此金刚歌闻思修或是，是为人天至圣贵依处。
Being the quintessence of the mind of the victorious ones of the 10 directions, it's the greatest wonder that it drowns in your mind.
十方诸佛心意之精髓，现于汝心，实乃大稀奇。
So, regular love and compassion are so important, but on their own, they're not liberating.
普通的慈心和悲心是很重要，但就凭他们自身是不能让人解脱的。
They become liberating, liberating great love, liberating great compassion when they lead to arousing bodhicitta.
只有当他们引导人发菩提心时，才具有让人解脱的能力，成为让人解脱的大慈和大悲。
Which is the aspiration to attain the stage of a Buddha in order to free all sentient beings from suffering.
就是为度众生离苦而发愿证得佛果的愿菩提心。
And the actual engagement in practices that we call paramita, the transcendent perfections, in order to fulfill that aspiration.
和为了实现这个愿心而采取的实际的修行，我们叫做波罗蜜多。也就是行菩提心。
Now, when bodhicitta is developed on the basis of hearing, studying, contemplating, meditating, in reference to all suffering sentient beings, we understand that sentient beings and the sensory world in which their suffering occurs
appears in consciousness, but actually lack permanent characteristics or, an inherent nature that we can grasp.
在闻思修的基础上，以一切受苦众生为所缘，而发起了菩提心。然后我们明白众生以及众生的苦难发生的地方及外在感官世界，都是出现在心识之上的相，其实是没有一个恒常自性让人可以直取。
So until we realize that our bodhicitta is still amazingly good, it really is, but it is relative bodhicitta.
在我们证悟这点之前，我们的菩提心仍然是非常贤善的，但它是相对的，是世俗菩提心。
In developing it with the right understanding, we purify the two obscurations in developing merit and wisdom to actually see the truth, the truth of that in actuality, and through that it becomes the ultimate bodhicitta.
以正确的理解培养它，我们积累福慧二资粮、清净二障，直到真正见到实相，然后它就成为究竟的圣意菩提心。
So since Maitreya said that nothing's missing in these words, and even says that he can't see how a bodhisattva with such quantity and such quality of bodhicitta could remain a samsaric being. So then definitely this way of training our minds can lead us to ultimate bodhicitta.
弥勒说，然无一分不含于此中，就是这些言语包含了所有大乘教法，没有缺失。那他还说，一位菩萨的菩提心质和量都如此之高，他不觉得这样一位菩萨会使轮回中的众生会留在轮回中，所以我们如果这样去修心，一定能够证得圣意菩提心。
What's clear here is that the thing that bridges the aspiration and the theory to the actual goal is practice.
那么这一点是很清晰的，在愿心和理论以及真正的目标之间的桥梁是实修。
So practicing in this way 3 times a day and 3 times a night, mindful of circumstances and without forgetting, he trained his mind in this Dharma and rejuvenated his health by undertaking the Vajra song. The Devas, Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinnaras, Mahoragas, Pishachis, Rakshasas, and the rest loved him like a mother loves her only child, respected him, and mustered under his influence.
然后看教文第4页的小字，复次如是日3夜3，念念始尽不忘，诵持金刚歌，以此法修心强身。天龙夜叉、乾达婆、阿修罗、迦楼罗、紧那罗、摩诃罗迦、毗舍奢、罗刹梭等，如母爱独子般慈爱之，尊之，归服之。
Moreover, the king of the country, his ministers and queens, and the Brahmins, the householders, boys and girls, those of the menial caste, and the rest all mustered under his influence. They were glad to follow him, and all who saw him or heard him developed a loving nature too.
复有国王、将相、王后、婆罗门家主、青年男女、首陀罗等，皆归服之，喜好追随之，见闻者亦皆长养慈爱本性。
Continuing. Moreover, the wandering beings of the 6 races, horses, elephants, water buffaloes, monkeys, avian and aquatic animals, the host of predatory sentient beings in the mountains, all the way down to even ants were unafraid of him, as though perfectly content to settle in front of the yogi.
富有马、象、水牛、猴、禽鸟、水栖动物、山间食肉猛兽，下至蝼蚁，六道众生，皆能无惧舒畅安住于瑜伽室近旁。
So the yogi paid heed in his mind, on the basis of me bringing loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta to mind, reciting the words as a litany, undertaking the sweet Vajra song, the compassionate Bhagavan Maitreya has shown his face to me directly and spoken in delight, cutting through the whole mesh of my doubts. On the basis of that, my patience, joyful vigor, and so forth developed like the moon waxing full. By that power, all kinds of wandering beings, even the incompatible, look at me like a mother does her child, and everyone loves me.
故而，瑜伽士心中念道：我作意慈悲心与菩提心，日诵此文，受持悦耳金刚歌，依于此。大悲世尊弥勒现身于我面前，欢喜说法，斩断我所有疑虑惑往。亦于此，我知安忍、精进等如上弦月般日益渐盈，以此威力，各种众生虽不相容，却皆爱我如母视子。
So in that way, so many secondary benefits are described along with the primary benefits of reaching Buddhahood.
这样，在主要的利益及证得佛果之外，这里还描述了很多附带的利益。
All which come about from our practice of bodhicitta with the two wings of wisdom and compassion that we need, to travel through the bodhisattva stages and paths.
这些利益都来源于菩提心的修行。我们在菩萨五道十地上前进，需要智慧和慈悲的双翼。
There's another very important benefit or relevance of a mind training practice like this.
还有一点非常重要的利益和这修行之法是相关的。
It really isn't uncommon for people with very good and very strong motivation to just feel, for example, if it's too hard to meditate in the modern world with so many distractions.
例如，有些人发心很好，也很强，但是在现代社会里有太多干扰，让他们感到难以禅修。这种状况并不罕见。
So many worries, so many responsibilities, and so on and so forth.
他们承担很多担忧、很多责任等等。
Or, some of us might start very committed, but then when, obstacles, still keep happening, we become discouraged.
或者有些人一开始非常精进，但是如果障碍不断，就会灰心丧气。
And then, neglect or, weaken or, even give up on our practice.
就会忽视、减弱，甚至放弃修行。
So this way of training our minds is perfect for those of us dealing with a lot of challenges.
这种修行方式对这些面对很多挑战的人，简直是量身打造。
Because it's not asking us to suppress our emotions or wait until we're on a strict 3-year
retreat, in the deepest meditations to do it.
因为它不要求我们压制自己的情绪，或是要求我们等到能做一个严格的3年闭关，能进入甚深禅定状态才能去修。
It's actually working with unfulfilled fantasies, working with the fire of rage, working with bitter taste of pain, problems when they arise.
完不成的空想，生气的怒火，痛苦问题出现时苦涩的滋味，这个法对这些都适用。
And taking that very affliction, as a means of developing wisdom and compassion.
把这烦恼用作修行智慧和慈悲的工具。
And it's saying that we can do this, we can do this anytime, anywhere, and as long as we don't forget the meaning of the verses.
他说我们任何时间在任何地点都可以这么做，只要不忘记这些寄送的含义。
We don't have to wait, for the limited time we can sit on a cushion and in front of a shrine with incense or all that to practice.
我们不需要等到特定时间，在佛龛前坐在坐垫上焚上一支香，不需要这样才能修行。
We can do it wherever we go, as long as we have mindfulness and vigilance.
我们无论去哪里都可以修，只要有正念和正知。
So the beauty of such a practice is that it works with the challenges in our experience. But in so doing, the afflictive emotions will definitely be reduced.
这个修法的美妙之处在于，它在我们面对困难挑战时起作用。如果这么做的话，烦恼一定会减少。
Confusion will be, replaced by wisdom. Selfishness will be replaced by, compassion. Aggression by loving kindness, and so on and so forth.
愚痴会被智慧取代，自私被悲心取代，嗔心被慈心取代，等等。
So Maitri Yogi replied with some more verses as a kind of a thanksgiving to Maitreya for this encouragement.
此时瑜伽士接下来以几个寄颂回答弥勒，感恩弥勒给他的鼓励。
Says, for those closely related to me since beginningless time, the sentient beings who have been my parents, without exception, I consider my pledge to establish them in supreme Bodhi. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
他说，无始以来与我紧相连，前世父母众生尽无余，是念皆至其与圣菩提，此法以供弥勒慈护主。
At that time, not entangled in self-interest for a second, I shall cultivate the welfare of others exclusively in my heart, as this is foremost for accomplishing Bodhi. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
彼时一刻亦不恋自利，心中所修唯独是他利，此乃成就菩提之关键，此法以供弥勒慈护主。
Whatever I feel, pleasure, pain, or neutral, I readily accept as an aid to accomplishing Bodhi, and whatever merits I accrue over the many eons
will not be lost to the Shravaka's timid approach. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
无论何等感受，苦乐舍，皆能铸成菩提，我甘受。无论精节累积和功德，皆不落于懦夫声闻法。此法以供弥勒，此护主。
So this reminds us that the activities we generally consider neutral, like brushing our teeth or picking something up, turning the page of a book, whatever it is.
这提醒我们，一般我们认为是中性的行为，例如刷牙、取快递、翻书等等无记业。
That we don't usually call pleasure or painful. They actually take up most of our day. But we usually don't pay much attention, and they're wasted. They're wasted as opportunities for developing the practice.
我们通常认为是不苦不乐的行为，其实它们占据了一天大多数的时光，我们一般不会太留意，就让它们付诸东流，没有利用起来转为盗用。
A more timid approach might leave the neutral as neutral, but
比较保守的修法，
But here, we're encouraged to transform neutral activities into virtuous endeavors.
比较保守的修法可能就让无记业就是中性的好了，随他去。但是这个修法鼓励我们把无记业转化为善业。
When we're, for example, when we're washing, we can contemplate that we are washing away the defilements of all sentient beings.
例如洗漱的时候，可以思维我们是在洗净所有众生的染污。
When we're eating, we visualize that the food is nectar offered to the Guru in our hearts.
吃东西的时候，可以把食物观想成甘露，在心中供养给上师。
When we drink water, we can aspire that the thirsting of all living beings is quenched.
喝水的时候，祈愿一切众生的可爱都被熄灭。
So like that, nothing in our everyday life needs to be wasted if we have the heartedness to transform it as a seed for awakening.
就像这样，日常生活中没有什么事情会被浪费。如果我们有勇敢的热忱，把它们全都转化成觉悟的种子。
So, continuing, whatever occurs that is undesirable, no matter how much, not a fraction of the armor of patience will be lost. Even those who I have nurtured with the fondest kindness, who act with ingratitude, I will nurture with a smiling face. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
继续念偈颂。无论我所不欲生几何，安忍盔甲丝毫亦不减。即使恩惠照拂者忘恩，复亦我亦笑颜以爱护。此法以供弥勒，慈护主。
Despite aggressive people building up degradations on their side, I will not give in to negative thoughts for a second. And should the universe rise up as Mara's demonic spirits or adversaries, I won't be subject to keeping the bonds that preserve selfishness. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
称我者虽一方积罪恶，我人刹那亦不堕恶念。即使万物皆化魔鬼敌，亦不缠手护恋己私欲。此法以供弥勒，慈护主。
Even when afflicted by
a disease that is certainly terminal. I won't be subject to putting my trust in non-dharma. Even when my fortune is meager from habitual avarice, I won't be subject to gaining food and clothes against the dharma. This dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
即使罹患不治之病症，亦不依赖托付于非法；即使吝啬串习致贫困，亦不以颠倒法觅衣食。此法以供弥勒慈护主。
Even when surrounded everywhere by bad associates, I won't be subject to forsaking whichever antidote is necessary to do myself. In brief, whether going or staying or whatever I do, I won't be subject to doing anything without inquiry. This dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
即使身旁围绕众恶友，亦不摒弃自主对治法。总之，行住无论何等事，不经观察，绝不鲁莽行。此法以供弥勒慈护主。
Though this is so, nevertheless, regarding phenomena, I won't be subject to understanding them as truly existent, even that an atom exists, as this is foremost for accomplishing Bodhi. This Dharma I render in offering to Maitreya.
虽则如此，然我亦了悟，万法实有一成亦不得。此乃成就菩提之关键。此法以供弥勒慈护主。
Here, we're not encouraging ourselves to be nihilists.
这里我们不是鼓励自己成为虚无主义
Phenomena
者。
appear, and consciousness has, the natural capacity to illuminate. So that natural clarity of consciousness allows objects to appear.
不是要成为断见者。那万法显现，心识是自然有照亮的能力的。心识这个本然的明分让万法显现。
But if we try to find anything substantial, and independent in phenomena that appear down to atoms, we can't find anything.
这是一个互相依赖的关系，相依缘起。但如果我们想要在显有万法中找到实有独立存在、不关带因缘的东西，小至微尘原子都找不到这样的存在。
Our habit is to grasp solidity and, independence where there really is none, which leads to suffering.
尽管如此，我们的习气是执着于实有，执着于独立存在，尽管根本没有这样的东西，那这就导致痛苦。
It's like walking along a path at dusk and seeing something that looks like a dangerous snake. But on a closer inspection, it's actually just a rope, a coiled rope left there.
打个比方，比如在黄昏时分走在路上，你看见一条蛇，然而走近一看，才发现只是一团绳子而已。
So in such case, the fear that arises only arises due to misperception.
在这种情况下，恐惧的升起只是因为错误
So in
认
the
知。
same way, it's not necessary for Bodhi to understand emptiness as something that the clarity of mind gets in the way of.
那同样的，要成就菩提，我们不能认为心的明分障碍着空分。
So just as the mind's nature is clear and luminous, so it's empty of any color, any shape, any substance that we can grasp.
心的自信是明空不二，是明的同时也没有任何颜色、形状、任何实质是可以直取的。
So for that reason, therefore, all that appears is also not something separate from pure luminosity and emptiness.
所以一切显现万法也不离于明空不二。
This ultimate bodhicitta is foremost, for accomplishing bodhi. Because once we reach the path of seeing, we are on the Aryan path and are certain that to reach Buddhahood.
这圣意菩提心对成就菩提来说是最为重要的。一旦我们踏上剑道，就已经在圣人的道途上了，就一定能够成就佛果。
Thus, by this sacred offering of practice, to cleanse this yogi's attitude, please accept this gift, loving legions of Maitreya. Having accepted it, please bring about the training of this mind.
最后一个寄颂，如是以此修行甚供养，清净瑜伽事无之心意。祈请弥勒慈君纳此供，那以祈请令我修此心。
The text then concludes by explaining how this sacred text for a practitioner to train in the mind in bodhicitta came to the great Bengali Pandita Atisha, who took Maitreya Yogi as one of his revered gurus.
教文的结尾解释了这个修行菩提心的神圣教法是如何传给伟大的孟加拉班智达阿底峡尊者的。此事瑜伽士是阿底峡尊者的上师之一。
So Chogo Atisha then came to Tibet, where he transmitted it to his disciples. Thus, it came down an unbroken lineage all the way down to my late grandfather and then to us in the present day.
阿底峡尊者来到西藏，传给了他的弟子们，然后不间断地传承下来，一直到仁波切的祖父达钦法王，然后今天仁波切再传给我们。
So we have the words of the text here, but for its meaning and purpose to remain in our world, each of us has to put into practice diligently, as best and as much as we can.
教文的词句就放在这里，但它的含义，它在世上流传至今的意义，在于我们每个人都要尽己所能精进来的修行它。
We can either recite the main verses regularly or on occasion.
我们可以定期或者偶尔念诵主要的偈颂。
We can study them. We can study them further. Contemplate them and meditate on them.
我们可以进一步学习它，对它进行文思修。
Most importantly, it is to integrate the transformation of afflictive emotions that cause all our suffering into the love, into the compassion, the wisdom, and all of the qualities of the Bhadracarya that bring about a true festival of peace and happiness for our world.
最重要的是用它转化造成痛苦的烦恼，结合慈心、悲心、智慧和贤行的所有功德，给世界带来真正的和平快乐的节日。
So yeah, that is my aspiration, and we can all keep that in our mind when we recite our prayers to conclude.
这是仁波切的愿望。我们接下来念诵祈请文的时候，可以把这些记在心里。
Before we get to that, we have a short video to share
of the work of the Marichi Fellowship has done to mark this year's Bhadracarya Festival, to show our supporters how their generosity has is enabling so much benefit for so many people and beings, to give all of us a chance to express our gratitude for that.
在那之前，我们先分享一段短视频，是某力之天联盟所做的工作。联盟的布施行呢，利益到了许多人和许多众生，希望这能给我们一个机会，来表达我们的感恩之情。
So yes, our heartfelt appreciation to everyone, and yes, here's our friend at the Marichi Fellowship.
由衷的感谢大家。那这位是我们魔力之天联盟的朋友。
Thank you, Rinpoche. We are very happy to inform all the supporters and friends at the Bhadracarya Festival that the Monastery Fellowship is having those in need in many communities. Today, we are here in heart of Delhi in India providing essential supply for the family in their needs. As you can see, thanks to the generosity for all the supporting the Monastery Fellowship for the Bhadracarya Festival. We can offer this help for the community here. Usually the Bhadracarya Festival is held in the holy place called the Lumbini in Nepal, and each year the Monastery Fellowship provides so much help for those in need in area.
72 का था आपने 80 लाया था। हाँ 80 का पूरा हो गया, थोड़ा बहुत बाहर गया। हम लोग तो पूरा हो गया, कम नहीं पड़ा।
Thank you. Thank you. तो ये
आप लोग बहुत सेफ्टी करते हो, गरीब आदमी बहुत सेफ्टी करते हैं।
We are very happy to let you know this year no exception, and we have been able to distribute the supply there. As part of the Bhadracarya Festival, the Monastery Fellowship is also bringing help in Kathmandu, South India, East India, Bhadracarya, Delhi, and other regions. Now I pass over to my colleague to show how Monastery Fellowship help people other state and other place.
Namaste everyone. Firstly, I would like to say a thanks to Rinpoche for offering a warm greeting to everyone join our Bhadracarya Festival and supporting the Monastery Fellowship. So here we are from Orissa, and today we are distributing rations for 30 families.
Thank you, Rinpoche, and warm greeting to everyone who is joining Bhadracarya Festival and supporting Monastery Fellowship. I'm Rinjin Chetan from Hunsu. Today, Monastery Fund we are going to use for the street dog. We have around 80 to 90 street dogs, and we are going to give street food. Thank you, Rinpoche, for your kind gesture and lots of love from Hunsur, Rapkeling, South India.
Thank you, Rinpoche, and warm greetings to all who are joining the Bhadracarya Festival and to support the Maharishi Fellowship Organization. Thank you. I'm Tintin Leshe on behalf of Maharishi Fellowship in Dehradun. Today we are here to donate food for the Mongol students.
त्यसले
Jigdal Rinpoche, I'm Kyabchog, and here we are in Bodh Gaya to distribute dry rations and study materials to the needed people. So, on the behalf of this beautiful village, I would like to say thank you, Rinpoche.
Hello, greetings attendees of the Bhadracarya Online Festival. We're here at the Maharishi Dana Garden and the Maharishi Fellowship Dana Garden, and we just want to take a little time to show you what we've been doing this year. The Dana Garden was created in order to supply those in need with fresh vegetables, fruit vegetables that they normally wouldn't be able to have access to. So I'll just run through real quick. Our prize tomato. And here are some of our volunteers, and we're going to harvest. This is the end of the year, so thank you very much. Some green peppers. Good flowers. They're not very busy because it's not real warm out right now, but oh, that's fantastic. There you go. So let me, I'll push it towards you. There you go. And these are mine. These onions are looking ready. Again. Those are tomatoes. Oh. Cucumbers. There we go. And tomatoes. We are patiently waiting for the tomatoes. Yeah.
I found one over there.
That's the summer squash, which is buried under here. There's like some yellow right here. So we just want to thank you from everybody in Seattle, to all the donors and everybody that makes this work possible, and to dedicate this to Jigdal Dagchen Dorje Chang.
Inspiring us in Seattle to create the Maharishi Garden, Dana Garden, for the people who are in homeless shelters. We want to thank also Teresa and Marianne and Larry and all the volunteers and all the donors who have helped in providing food and relief
for those who are suffering.
Hello and Kuzangpola to Rinpoche and everyone watching and joining the Bhadracarya Festival. My name is Butta from Bhutan, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Rinpoche first and foremost for starting such a great initiative, and also thank everyone else around the world who help in doing their part for Marichi Fellowship. This is our third year in Bhutan doing and organizing activities for the Marichi Fellowship. The first 2 years we distributed food for the old and homeless, and then we also went to distribute different type of necessities for people in the hospital, and then we used to go to the animal shelter to feed the dogs, cats and cows and so on. So this year, due to the pandemic, things couldn't go according to plan and what we had hoped we would achieve for this year. So we just stuck to feeding the animals in the shelter this year.
Hello, my name is Deshipiden, and first of all, I would like to thank the Marichi Fellowship for your support continuously. This is the third year, and we really would like to express our gratitude for coming forward to help our organization. And on behalf of the RSPC, I would like to convey our gratitude. And the RSPC was set up in 1999. Actually, the shelter was set up in 2002. We set it up out of necessity, actually, because at that time dogs were being controlled by being killed, and the organization was set up as a solution that alternative to killing, we can do animal birth control and anti-rabies program, actually.
Hello, Sawadee, greetings from Monastery volunteers in Thailand. We are very much thankful to Rinpoche for such novel outreach program. And also I am thankful to all the volunteers, all the contributors who have donated some amount for these items. Today we will be reaching about 10 homeless or underprivileged people around Phrathai and Platinum area in Bangkok. When I usually go around, I see these people around this place. So today I have some t-shirts, face masks, juice, food, soap, and some amount of cash for these people. So thanks to all the generous contributors who have helped in this program. So let us go and distribute these items to these underprivileged people.
พวกเรามีความสุขกับ Marichi Fellowship ขอขอบคุณริมพอเชสำหรับงานสังคมสงเคราะห์ในครั้งนี้กิจกรรม Marichi ครั้งที่ 2 ของพวกเราจัดขึ้นในเดือนพฤศจิกายนปีที่แล้วซึ่งพวกเราได้ไปเยี่ยมบ้านพักคนชราได้มอบเสื้อผ้าอาหารเครื่องนอนและผ้าอ้อมสำหรับคนชราและผมรู้สึกดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่ได้ช่วยเหลือผู้อื่น
คุณริมโปเช่สำหรับความมีน้ำใจโครงการอาสา Marichi Fellowship ในประเทศไทยได้ช่วยเหลือเด็กกำพร้าในบ้านพักพิงต่างๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นการช่วยเหลือในด้านอาหารเสื้อผ้าของเล่นหนังสือของขวัญและการใช้เวลาร่วมกับเด็กๆทำให้พวกเขามีความสุขมากเพราะพวกเขาไม่มีพ่อแม่อาสาสมัครของMarichiยังไปเยี่ยมเยียนคนชราที่บ้านพักคนชราอีกด้วยและบริจาคสิ่งของต่างๆที่เป็นที่ต้องการให้ผู้สูงอายุเหล่านี้ต่างโดดเดี่ยวดังนั้นกิจกรรมเหล่านี้จึงถือเป็นการช่วยเหลือบุคคลที่ต้องการความรักและการดูแลขอบคุณค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ ต้องขอบคุณรินโปเช่สำหรับการเริ่มต้นโครงการมาริชีเฟโลชิพเพื่อช่วยเหลือผู้อื่นไม่ว่าจะเป็นการช่วยเหลือในเรื่องของด้านอาหารในช่วงของยุคโควิด -19 พวกเขาได้นำอาหารไปยังตู้กับข้าวต่างๆที่อยู่ทั่วกรุงเทพเพื่อที่จะแสดงน้ำใจช่วยเหลือผู้อื่นอย่างงดงามขอบคุณรินโปเช่ขออวยพรให้งานสังคมของคุณช่วยเหลือผู้คนมากขึ้นในอนาคตครับขอบคุณครับ
आज हमारे मॉरिशी जी की तरफ से एक प्यारे भाई इंडियन भाई की वो थोड़ा सा हेल्प मिला है। आज सबसे विनती है ये दान पुण्य जो होता है बहुत उपकार का काम होता है। इसमें आप कपड़ा दवा पानी खाना दान करके अगले को खुशी दें और अपने आप को तृप्त करें। अगले जन्म में यही तो काम आता है।
G'day from Australia. To Rinpoche and the Marichi Fellowship, a heartfelt thanks for supporting New South Wales prison chaplains with 250 copies of your new book, The Way to Invincible Love. Rinpoche, our inmates will surely benefit.
हेलो नमस्ते दर्शकले आज म यो पवित्र जग्गा बुद्धजन्मको स्थल निम्मिनेबाट बोल्दैछु। आज पूर्णिमाको दिनमा हामी एउटा सानो पुण्य काम गर्न गएका छौँ। यो सानो पुण्य काम चाहिँ के हो भने हाम्रो मरिची फेलोशिपद्वारा राहत वितरण गर्ने हो। खासमा चाहिँ हामीले हर साल यो भद्राचार्य फेस्टिभल भनेर हाम्रो 3 दिनको कार्यक्रम हुन्थ्यो र त्यो 3 दिनको कार्यक्रममा चाहिँ हामीले विश्व शान्तिको लागि पूजा गर्ने र हाम्रो परम पूज्य अविकृत रिम्पोछे ज्यूले परिवर्तन दिनुहुन्थ्यो र अन्तिम दिनमा चाहिँ हामीले यस्तै राहत वितरण गर्थ्यौँ यो मरिची फेलोशिपद्वारा। तर यो साल चाहिँ यो महामारी कोभिड-19 को कारणले हाम्रो भद्राचार्य फेस्टिभल चाहिँ हुन सकेन। तर पनि हामीले समाज सेवा यो मरिची फेलोशिपद्वारा राहत वितरण चाहिँ निरन्तर होस् भनेर यो महामारीको बेला हामीले एउटा सानो राहत वितरण गर्न गइरहेका छौँ। यो महामारीको समयमा यो रासन बाँच्नुभयो त बहुत राम्रो कुरो हो, खुसीको कुरो हो। कतिपयजना मान्छेले खान नपाएर बिचुली थियो, यो बहुत राम्रो भएछ। धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। यो मरिची फेलोशिपको बिना हाम्रो यो आजको राहत वितरण गर्न सम्भव हुने छैन। त्यसकारण यो मरिची फेलोशिपको निर्देशक परम पूज्य अविकृत रिम्पोछेले अनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद भन्न चाहन्छु र यो मरिची फेलोशिपलाई सहयोग गर्ने दाजुभाइ दिदीबहिनी आमा बुवा सबैजनाले पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद भन्न चाहन्छु र अन्तिम म यो प्रार्थना गर्न चाहन्छु। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। सबैजना सुखी होस्, सबैजना निरोगी होस्, सबैजनाले सबै चिजमा राम्रो गुणहरू देखोस् र यो राम्रो गुणहरू अपनाओस् र कोही पनि दुःखी नहोस्। May everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all kind of diseases, may everyone see preciousness and goodness in everything, may none be unhappy. विश्वमा धर्म र शान्ति फैलिरहोस्।
Thanks for all supporters and friends to the Marichi Fellowship.
Thank you, Rinpoche and to all the donors for supporting Marichi Fellowship.
All supporters and friends of Marichi Fellowship.
To give us the opportunity to do all the good deeds and help the dogs and neighbors.
My utmost and sincere gratitude to all the supporters and the donors of the Marichi Fellowship and Rinpoche.
On behalf of the Seattle Marichi Fellowship Dana Garden, I'd like to thank everybody who made this all possible.
To help the needy people and animals all around the world.
So I hope by next year we in Bhutan can do bigger and better things, and that the impact of Marichi Fellowship can reach more and more people.
ขอบคุณลินพอเชเป็นอย่างมากสำหรับการเริ่มมาริชีเฟลโลชิพ
Rinpoche da dile Marichi Fellowship lu kingda bekilera kadim gasol bom yese shuni yila.
For your blessing and support, and also I would like to thank all donors.
Roram soba samala ne marichila ne roram chawade nim thamane tochi cheda test shwayus.
All the supporters and friends of Marichi Fellowship. To all the supporters of Marichi Fellowship. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marichi Fellowship.
Many thanks for your kindness and for your generosity.
Thank you and Tashi Dilek.
On these Bhadracarya festivals, I on behalf of all the staff of Marichi Fellowship and volunteers would like to say thank you to all the supporters and friends around the world. And special thank you for the Rinpoche to giving us kind opportunity. In future, we will do more and more activity of Marichi Fellowship. And thank you and lots of love from Marichi Fellowship.
section of the Triple Gem, page 18.
हिजो चाहिँ आज फेरि पनि पहिलो पदमा त्रिरत्नको अनुस्मृति नेपालीमा रहेको पृष्ठ सङ्ख्या 17 हेरिदिनु होला
随念三宝经第12页
Simsema. The praise of the Muni known as Simsema. Turn to page 24.
यस पश्चात प्राणी स्नेह अथवा करुणा प्रणिधान पाठलाई निरन्तर राख्दै नेपालीको पृष्ठ सङ्ख्या 21
模拟礼赞文慈心颂中文版19页
Thank you.
Amen.
The Praise of the 12 Days, turn to page 37, continuing.
पाठलाई निरन्तर राख्दै द्वादश अथवा 12 बौद्धिक कृति नेपालीको पृष्ठ सङ्ख्या 33
佛陀12习以礼赞文第31页。
Amen.
Manjushrie's praise of the Buddha. Turn to page 45, continuing.
पाठलाई फेरि निरन्तर राख्दै यस पश्चात मञ्जुश्रीको बुद्ध स्तुति पृष्ठ संख्या 39
大圣文殊师利菩萨赞佛礼第37页。
康多大大耶咩啊，早晚明啊，明明啊，明啊中啊，明啊晚，明天知道小三罗，明天明啊明啊晚，老晚明啊都明啊，七天周天当周晚，明天知道。
Jigdal Dagchen Dorje Chang
Juma 罗杰道个定心机，定心机拉门桑机，我马起马娘小巴，米的去拉车上路，前把的那当街路，米要娘眼的马路，那所大大的马步，米的去拉上山路。世界当街就别到，街边开吧就完了。天前没有两年的，没得就拉上山路。财马名马轮接住，这把名马就名啊。那面那也名啊我，没得就拉上山路。南多密码就密码，大业大业去行吧。我多钱把当姐姐，你的这个长山路，都去我高我去了长山路，几张几面走我去了长山路。马街去那年不让读书去就把，这我跟前去把去拉长山路，跟着前往前把就拉长山路，爬着现在当拉就拉长山路，前往南边南边就拉长山路，头我谢谢明年不拉。我当家Dharma世界能到你，到结束将多也能多追求吧。起来没忙抢劫就把你就是上街都把这些东西心多的，前往当家能把更多能把些，却拉个两个把这把起码了。人别不把那面人把你拉的，明面出我高我就拉长山路，上街都街上街就把我拉的，明面能看见把你拉长山路，有的跟街就马就拉长山路，把我跟我这我就拉长山。
The praise of Arya Avalokiteshvara is turned to page 132.
अब यस पश्चात अवलोकितेश्वर स्तुति नेपालीको पृष्ठ सङ्ख्या 110
圣观自在菩萨礼赞文第112页。
觉得喇嘛是把圣洁的宝宝，那也走过的那上面的宝宝，特别讲究特别主观的宝宝，觉得圣洁公婆吃了长子路，这些方面工作过上进宝宝。这些能大一切无间进宝宝，产业出现一道这公司王宝，也别常年世界被没进宝宝，这些让别前往把水出宝宝，下列结果当我当不在宝宝。渐渐变魔出多少些阳光波，靠我懂得等得今年当我波，前面热上不的怎么怎么波，这边热在小脸马背肩膀波，对面走到这边把我肩膀波，对面渐渐不当这些。人间忙不碰把你面前把波，老面受的小点是心讲把波，
The majestic aspiration of Ayurvada's course. Please turn to page 143.
अब यसपश्चात सम्बन्ध भद्र प्रणिधान नेपालीको पृष्ठ संख्या 119
普贤习愿品第121页。
Jigdal Sanjay Gewa Nam
The aspiration for success. Please turn to page 194.
र अन्तिममा सुसम्पन्न प्रणिधान नेपालीको पृष्ठ सङ्ख्या 163
妙成就愿文第162页。
We would would like to convey our heartfelt gratitude towards Rinpoche once again for his profound teachings and prayers even during such challenging times. We hope it is not too long before it is safe enough for the festival to be held back in Lumbini. In the meantime, we wish everyone to be safe and well. We would like to thank all our Bhadracarya Foundation supporters. Thank you.